Hi, folks. It's another Football Friday night around the North Country. This time, playoff action. Plenty of playoffs going on around the area.
Yes, Jim Moore would say playoffs.
Playoffs, yeah. And I tell you what, let's take a look back to Wednesday night's action just for a brief moment. South Jefferson defeating Mexico by a comfortable margin. Losing their starting quarterback, South Jeff did early in the game. Braden Mick looked like he hurt a wrist in the contest. Chances are he might not play in the championship game, but the Spartans dominated.
Yeah, and it really didn't affect them that much. As you said, they won by a comfortable margin. One of the keys in the championship game this year, which they're looking to defend their Class B2 championship. They won last year. They host the championship game this year, so that's a big plus for South Jeff.
I'm going to be spending Friday night in Dexter, checking out General Brown against Marcellus. Lions undefeated heading into their playoff game Friday night. Your thoughts on General Brown?
They are playing incredible football. You know, nothing has stopped them throughout the regular season. A big win, 51-26 over Lowville last Friday night. And, Coach Doug Black's team, they always step it up a notch when postseason play hits. Marcellus is going to be a tough test for them.
And meanwhile, Lowville, the team that lost to General Brown last week, still got a home game, so they don't have to travel Friday night, and they're hosting Cazenovia. Your thoughts about that?
Yep, that should be a good game as well. You know, the Red Raiders have had an up-and-down season, a couple wins, couple losses here and there, but I think playing General Brown a good test for them heading into the postseason, and I like their chances on Friday night at home. Always big when you're home in the postseason.
You bet. And another team that'll be home Friday night, Indian River, hosting Oneida. Indian River has blown out just about every team they've played this year, except for Carthage, which handed the Wolves their only loss of the season. Indian River, Oneida, they met earlier in the year. Indian River blew them out. Expect more of the same, I'm thinking, tonight.
Yeah, I do. Indian River always tough at home. And not to look ahead, but I'm sure that both Indian River and Carthage are kind of peeking into next week because if both teams win, they will play one another. And Indian River would host Carthage in the Class B semifinal game. And, of course, that would be a big grudge match for Indian River because, as you said, Carthage handed Indian River their only loss of the season, and Indian River would have them at home, and that would be a phenomenal game.
Carthage at home.
Yep.
Taking on the Simpsons of Homer. Your thoughts about that matchup for the Comets against Homer? Coming off a big win, by the way, Carthage did last week.
I'm sure Homer's done their homework on Carthage, and in order to win, you're going to have to stop Jeremiah Adamola-Sadip. He had 316 yards on 27 carries last week, and that's going to be the key. If you can shut him down or slow him down, then you have a chance against Carthage. It all starts at the offensive line for the Comets.
Beaver River at home Friday night. It's strange because Sandy Creek has to travel Saturday.
And they have a better record.
But Beaver River is home. Your thoughts about the Beavers heading into their game against Herkimer?
Yeah, Herkimer beat Beaver River earlier in the season by a score of 43-21 in Herkimer. Beavers, an easy tune-up heading into the playoffs last week, beating Pulaski 50-0. Should be a good game.
Watertown had a home game last week against Central Square. They were able to scout them because the first game of the playoffs for Watertown this weekend, Central Square.
Yeah.
They lost the first time around last week. What do you think they'll do against the Red Hawks?
Here's the key for Watertown. Last week, they fell behind early in that contest. The Red Hawks controlled the tempo of that game, controlled the time of possession in that game. Watertown's going to have to do that. They're going to have to flip the script on Central Square. They're going to have to control the time of possession. They're going to have to limit Central Square's chances in that game because if they don't, it's going to be a long night for the Cyclones.
Checking Section 10, Potsdam, the undefeated Sandstoners in action Friday night, taking on Canton. Potsdam has looked impressive all season long, and
Yeah.
against Canton. I'm thinking it's going to be more of the same for the Sandstoners.
Yeah, I mean, they've been on a roll all season long. I don't see why anything would be different in the postseason for them, especially having a home game. As we said, home field advantage always big in the sectionals, and it seems like this year almost all of our teams have first-round home games this year. So that's a big advantage for them, unlike years past where, we've had maybe 2 or 3 teams with home games and the rest of them have had to go on the road for the first round.
OFA continues to get better each week as the season rolls along. Now it's playoff time up in Section 10, and they're hosting Messina this weekend.
Yeah, Lucas Labella ran for 2 touchdowns last week in their win. They are playing good as well. A young team starting to hit their stride in the postseason. And, if you're a team going up against OFA, you hate to see that because, if OFA starts getting things in line and starts figuring things out, they're a tough team to beat in the postseason.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens up there. A game Saturday in Section 3. We mentioned Sandy Creek. They handed Mount Markham their first loss of the season when they played up in Sandy Creek.
Mm-hmm.
Now Sandy Creek has to hit the road and play Mount Markham on the road.
And that's going to be a tough task for them going on the road. It's a long trip, but, the Comets have a good running game. They have quarterback Hudson Hunt, so, anything's possible.
And St. Lawrence Central takes on Governor Saturday. Now, 8-man football Friday night. Thousand Islands visits Frankfurt Schuyler. It'll be interesting to see what happens with the Vikings on the road.
Yeah, I believe the Vikings are the 8th seed in the 8-man playoffs against Frankfurt Schuyler, who is the number 1 seed. It's going to be a tough task for them, but we'll see what they can do.
Alrighty, college ball. St. Lawrence has the weekend off. Big game for the Orange at the JMA Wireless Dome Saturday high noon. Virginia Tech comes to town. It was a nightmare of a game in Pittsburgh last week for the Orange. Kyle McCord threw
5 interceptions?
5 interceptions,
3 pick sixes.
3 returns.
That's
for
tough
touchdowns.
to do. Throw 3 pick sixes.
Yeah, he had an off week, and it'll be interesting to see how they're able to bounce back at home this weekend. Your thoughts on the Orange and the Hokies?
It's almost like we've seen this movie time and time again, year after year, where Syracuse has gotten off to a quick start. 5-1, 5-0, 6-0, and then the second half of the season, the wheels fall off. And watching last Thursday night's game against Pittsburgh, you almost got that sense that here we go again. But I think this team's a little different. I mean, you've got a veteran quarterback in Kyle McCord who played at Ohio State, led Ohio State, to great things last year. You have depth. Syracuse has a lot of depth, and I believe Marlo Wax is back for the Orange. So, if you're going to get things back on track, you want to do it at home against a big crowd, noon kickoff at the Dome against Virginia Tech. And I think Syracuse is going to come away with a win on Saturday and become bowl eligible. They're just 1 win away.
Well, and that's the key. I mean, they're still playing for stuff.
Yeah.
The more games that they can put in the win column, the better the bowl opportunity. And
you look ahead at their schedule; it's not that easy.
No, it isn't. But this will also test Fran Brown. I mean, he's a motivator. He gets his teams up, whether or not he can get the Orange up against a tough Hokies team coming in. It'll be interesting to see what happens. Early start, always tough for a visiting team.
Yeah, at noon.
Yep, so it'll be interesting to see what happens.
And, you talk about Fran Brown. He's learning on the job as he goes along. This is his first year as a head coach. And even though it's his first year as a head coach, he's already got 2 wins against top 25 teams. So, that's impressive. And, you got to give him some time. You hear fans out there going, oh, this isn't good. It's just like years before. Give him a chance. Yeah. Give the team a chance. The guy's learning. He's brought in some great recruits. Good things are ahead for Syracuse. Just be patient with him.
Well, and that's the key. I mean, he can recruit. He did that at Georgia, brought in some blue chippers, and really has done a great job of filling out the Syracuse roster this year. They're a much improved team from last year.
And you having season tickets, you've seen this in years past. You get a Marlo Wax go down. You get a Rondé Gadsden go down. You get a LaQuinn Allen go down. There's nobody behind them to back them up. This year it's different. I mean, they've had a couple wide receivers go down. they brought in guys and have not lost a beat. So that is the key. He's building a good team. He's building depth on that team. And it's not just depth, it's quality depth. Yeah. So,
well, we've given you the matchups, especially at the high school level. A lot of local games this weekend. Go out, support the local team. Enjoy some quality football. It's playoff time.
Yeah, and tune into us Friday night at 11 o'clock and even Saturday for postseason highlights.
Very good. Thanks for watching.